Resilience. I'm John Biggs. Today we have Rick Luebbe. He's the CEO of Group14 Technology. This is a battery company, and technically dual use because you have a background in military, right? Right, Rick?
A long time ago, sure enough.
Mhm.
7 years active duty Army.
All right. So welcome. Why don't you
Yeah,
tell us
so
about Group14?
Group14, here at Group14, we are commercializing silicon battery technology. We make a silicon carbon composite that replaces graphite in a traditional lithium-ion battery that turns it into a silicon battery, delivering significantly higher energy. And what's especially exciting is extremely fast charging.
So my understanding in terms of charging, it's kind of like flooding the material with energy, and it takes so long because the material overheats. Do I have that right, or is that something?
Yeah, that's, I think, one of the issues. I think here at like the chemical scale, when we're dealing with putting lithium into graphite versus putting lithium into silicon, it's fundamentally a different chemical response. And so when you put lithium into graphite, it's called an intercalation reaction. Really, if you can imagine like stacks of sheets of graphite, and those lithium ions are trying to find the edge of that graphite and slide in between the sheets and kind of hang out there, almost in a static charge kind of. Whereas with silicon, you've got a lithium ion actually coming in and forming effectively an alloy with that silicon atom, and it takes about 6 carbon atoms to hold one lithium atom in that intercalation reaction. But one silicon atom can hold 4 lithium atoms with that alloying reaction. So you get a 10-to-1 improvement in capacity using silicon over graphite. And that's really what lends to this much higher energy density.
Is this a new technology? Why did you guys pick this specifically?
Yeah, so the industry's been looking at silicon for a long time, 20, 25 years, but they haven't been able to make it work. So one of the challenges with silicon, when it lithiates, that is when the lithium goes into the anode, it expands a lot. It can expand up to 3 times its initial volume. And you can imagine that expansion causes all kinds of mechanical and electrochemical problems in the cell. Bottom line is they don't last very long. So maybe you get 20, 30, 50 cycles with traditional silicon, raw silicon. And so we've invented this composite with carbon that effectively stabilizes the silicon in a carbon scaffold and allows it to expand and contract without really affecting the rest of the cell. And so we get thousands of cycles, which is as good, if not better in many cases, than traditional graphite.
What does this mean in practical terms? What does this mean in terms of, I don't know, powering a car?
Yeah, so I think 2 big observations. One is up to 50% more energy in the same size battery. And so that means 50% more range in that same size pack. Huge, huge, huge impact from just a raw energy storage perspective. But where it really gets interesting is what's called extreme fast charging. And so today, if a lithium-ion battery might take anywhere from 30, 40, 50, 60 minutes to charge your car, we've got customers today demonstrating batteries they claim can be charged from 0 to 100% in 90 seconds. It's almost flash charging.
Okay.
Imagine that. And so, for example, imagine, nobody drains their phone battery 100%, but let's say your battery 50% or 60, 70%. Imagine charging for 30, 40 seconds and you're totally topped off.
And then discharge is just a function of usage. There's not like a faster discharge or something like that. It's just
There is a faster, yeah, faster discharge as well. So the lithium goes into that silicon and comes out of the silicon much more easily. And so in applications where you need fast discharge, so think like takeoff on a drone or an electric aircraft, a lot more power on takeoff, maybe acceleration in like an EV or an electric hypercar or a Formula E race car. You want that fast discharge for acceleration. And another area where this discharge really matters is in data centers. So right now, there's a whole new push into bringing energy storage to the rack level in data centers because AI-powered servers are putting these extreme power demands at the rack level in these data centers. And so in order to manage the way these AI servers work, the best way to do that is put batteries in the rack to respond to those big power spikes. Problem is traditional lithium-ion batteries don't respond fast enough. They can't cover that power spike. And so you have to have a whole bunch of excess power connected to the rack in order to accommodate those changes in power requirements. Silicon batteries are much higher frequency response and they discharge very, very fast. And so when that AI powered server drives one of these algorithms, it requires a bunch of power to crunch the the silicon batteries can respond fast enough and provide that peak shifting required to allow you to not have excess power connected to all your servers.
interesting. I mean, I think the irony with all this is that even a couple years ago, this would have you would have sounded like a crank, right? Like have a 90-second battery charge, and that sort of discharge time would have been like that's like a perpetual motion machine. But at this point, it sounds like we've gotten this technology pretty much handled. What's the future? What's the timeline?
Yeah, so these batteries are out there now. So we're in about 20 million cell phones today and looking at a broad spectrum of applications. So everything from EVs to drones to electric aviation. I mentioned the data center application, all kinds of power electronics applications, and applications that, frankly, I haven't thought of yet. So the industry hasn't thought of yet. So then when you think about this kind of transformational capability to charge and discharge so quickly, I think it's going to change the way we do a lot of things with the electrification of everything.
Is there any benefit to the silicon versus lithium? Is there any? Is it easier to get? Is it easier to source? That sort of thing.
Yeah, so one of the challenges we have today is battery graphite is predominantly produced and processed in China. So about 90% of the world's battery anode material is exported from China, and China has indicated they're going to start restricting those exports towards the end of this year. And so now we're looking at some significant economic and security risks with not having access to that battery material supply chain. Because our capacity is so much higher than graphite, 1 ton of our material displaces 5 tons of Chinese graphite. And so there's a really interesting supply chain security play here as well.
So their silicon and the your materials are going to be readily accessible, I guess, in Europe slash the US, places where we're not mining a lot of lithium to a degree.
Exactly. So we're targeting manufacturing in all the major areas where cars and batteries are made. So we currently have manufacturing online in Korea. We've got a smaller commercial plant online in Washington State, and we're bringing on a significantly large manufacturing facility in central Washington. And then we also have operations in Germany, and so intend to expand in Europe as well, recognizing that all major economies recognize how important energy storage technology is for their own economies and their own security concerns. So having domestic supply chains for all of our customers is important. And so that's our objective, is to have global operations to support these global supply chains.
And you had a hefty funding round back in August. Are you going back for more, or are you staying where you are?
It's never enough. when, you, when you're building factories, you can always build fast with more capital. And so it's always balancing how fast we can move and how many factories we can bring online with how much capital we have available. So I'd say, like every good startup, we're always raising money, never stop. But right now, our focus is on scaling the manufacturing infrastructure that we've got built in Korea and that we have almost completed in Central Washington.
And just to reiterate, when's the point when I'm going to be able to, like, I don't know, charge this in 30 seconds?
Yeah,
My
so
iPhone.
it's getting close. So we're seeing silicon batteries today in mobile phones. A lot of brands, not the big brands yet, but a lot of the kind of second tier brands, as we'd think about it,
Hmm.
have gone to silicon batteries. I think the big brands aren't too far behind. I think we'll see silicon batteries in all mobile devices within 18 months. We'll see how long it takes for them to implement the extreme fast charging capabilities. I think in some respects, the device industry is still trying to understand what the implications are and how to design the devices around this ability to charge really, really fast.
Yeah, it's fascinating. What are the military implications, do you think, or is it just basically standard things? I mean, you can load these batteries up and have them go. So
Yeah, I mean, energy storage is critical for military applications, whether they're talking about soldier power or drones or sophisticated advanced weaponry. Anytime you can store energy and you don't have to transport it makes the battlefield experience more efficient and more simple. I remember back in my day, I used to quote that by the time a gallon of fuel made it all the way through the supply chain to delivery to an aircraft or vehicle, it was like 10 times more expensive than it had
hmm.
started. And so if you can create that energy at point of use using electricity, tremendously more efficient and more flexible.
This is fascinating. I'd heard about silicon batteries, but it always seemed like a pipe dream. So
hmm Yeah, now's the time. So this is the beginning of the silicon era, really. The technology's been proven. It's been commercialized by many of our customers and all kinds of different devices. We're currently, as I mentioned, in 20 million cell phones. We're in drones. We're in electric hypercars. The McMurtry Sperling uses uses batteries based on our material. So the The applications are real, the performance is real, and now the next step in this transformation is to build manufacturing facilities. The battery industry globally is huge, and a lot of opportunity for us. And frankly, as fast as we can build factories, we can transform lithium-ion batteries into silicon batteries.
I'm kind of afraid to ask this last one, but is there a one-to-one swap out for like I don't know, if I bought a car a couple years ago with the EV, can I swap out with some silicon down the line?
Yeah, I think theoretically, probably the battery management system would need an upgrade just to kind of handle the very slight voltage differences. But fundamentally, it's the same form factor. It's providing the same, the same charge and discharge systems, same plugs, etc. Now, if you want to get a lot faster charge, you need more current and more current,
Hmm.
bigger pipes, bigger wires. And so I think if we see extreme fast charging, or rather when we see extreme fast charging in EVs, we'll see a different kind of charging infrastructure. Instead of a 250 kilowatt charger, we might see a 1 megawatt charger, something like that. So you can imagine the contacts will have to be beefier to be able to
Oh
move
my gosh, yeah, very
power.
cool. All
But
right,
very possible, and it's happening. It's happening now.
all right. Well, thank you, Rick, for joining us. This has been very cool. I'm excited about this.
Absolutely,
All right,
John. Thanks
all
for
right.
having me.
And the website is group14.technology. Check it out. This has been Resilience. I'm John Biggs. We'll see you next time.
Excellent. Thanks, John.
Thanks.